Alright, hello everybody. How are we doing today? I'm doing wonderful, thank you. So this will just be a quick thing. There's only been a couple things that I see of significance going on right now in the headlines. When we were here last, we had this going on. We stopped with Afghanistan, and right now we got a lot of flooding getting ready to happen in the southern part of the United States. Now, granted, the flooding is happening all over the world, everywhere, but grabbing stuff from the headlines, okay, and putting the timelines together, those are the only two I'm really worried about. And wedged in between those two is this right here. For this, right? The government, turned their backs on what was going on over here, right? Okay. And then right here, we have flooding. So, if you turn this over and run the time backwards, we're going to go from flooding to Biden takes blame to Afghanistan. Okay? Now, the other part of this is the big three. These guys right here. Anu, Inky, and Enlil. Enlil is the god of the air from ancient texts, right? This goes back to the Anunnaki. So when you read their stories, it was this guy right here. Get my big hand shadows out of the way. There was this guy right here. Okay, that came to Earth. So that would equate to your Satan, so to speak. Okay, he's the one that came to Earth and created humans. Now this guy right here didn't like that. The simple fact that this guy got promoted over this guy, okay, Enlil was advanced over Inky. It caused basically a war between them. This guy, Enlil, did not like the humans that Inky had created because they were a noisy bunch. It says that in all the text. That's one thing. Now, how I do this is, when I was a young lad, and we used to race hot rods, okay? In fact, all my buddies that I haven't been in touch with for 30 years are very surprised that I don't currently work for NASCAR. We ruled the streets where we were. We were the original street outlaws. But when we did our first motor, you read a book, right? You got information out of there, and then I actually went around and I talked to actual mechanics and people who built motors to find out different combinations that work good together, because those are the people that had, in-field, hands-on experience. So that's kind of how I go through all this. You read some books, but then you just got to survey the world as a whole, and you got to talk to people, and it's all discernment, it's all going in, right? So anyway, back to these guys. So I think what really happened, let me just throw another thing out there, because this is something that bothered me from the get-go. When you read the Bible, okay, so the Bible will tell you, and this is where I get the divide in the Bible right off the bat. It's about divide, because they say these people are the chosen ones. Well, we're all created equal, so there is no chosen people. But if the Bible is written from a certain perspective, from a certain person's point of view, these would be. Now, let's look at these guys right here, the non-Jew Jews, right? Because they're in there too. These would be the humans that are of Jewish descent. These guys, the chosen ones, are your Zionists. Mount Zion, it's a mountain in the shape of a pyramid. Okay, yeah, I don't get into the details, devil's in the details, right? I just look big picture things. So the Zionist Jews, say the Rockefeller, the Rothschilds and all them, they are the chosen one according to that book. Just saying. Even this guy was a Jew, they said, right? And the thing that bothered me when I was a lad, if there was no J in the Hebrew, how did we come up with all these names? John, Jesus. I mean, go to Middle East. Look around. Where are you going to find a Mark, Matthew, Paul, Peter? I don't know. To me, it's all hogwash. But this guy was a Jew supposedly too, okay? Now, people will say, well, his name was really Yahweh. Okay, that's fine. I can buy that. That would have been letters in the Hebrew back in those days. So, this is how it goes down. Okay, so Inky came down here and messed with us and created us. And this guy didn't like it because he could hear us. And we were multiplying, we were everywhere, and we were very noisy. And I don't think, and that's where, words, spelling, even that word God, we really need to look at the language. If everybody knows we're casting spells when we speak, that's why the monks take vows of silence. But anyway, this guy said he could feel us. Now what happens, in my opinion, is Yahweh, the destroyer, got turned into Jesus, the Savior, through us. When they tampered with our DNA, we are antennas, right? We receive energy, we give off energy. This guy not only could hear us, that guy could feel us. So just like Neo jumping into Mr. Smith and the Matrix and converting him from the inside out, that's what we've been doing this whole time, that they've actually hijacked us. It kind of backfired on them, so to speak. So if you can think of Star Wars, Anakin and Darth Vader are the same people, right? They just change names when they start using a different heart, so to speak. Right? So Yahweh, the destroyer, was probably actually Inky. They just changed the names, right? You got Inky, Satin, it doesn't matter. It's all names. Just follow the big picture. So he came down, jacked us, but it backfired on him. All our love poured into them. He couldn't stand it. Now, this guy was actually promoted over this guy because of age. And look in the world, if number 45 is playing, any one of these parts over here, this would be your current dude right here, right? And that is true, because back on the timeline, okay, it is Enlil. Okay, when whatever happens and the great flood comes to earth, Enlil is the one that is said that did not warn the humans, and potentially even created the flooding himself. Okay, so on the timeline that I'm watching, we're these floods that are about to hit, and there again, it's just in the news. If you want to play the game, play the game. If you want to get all worried about this and be fearful, you could probably help turn those hurricanes into monsters. Okay, the true people that want what's best for everybody are probably already at work, and I was this morning, will be later, in meditation, trying to balance these things out, right? Because that's what we do, is we bring balance. Okay, a lot of people, okay, they say you control nothing in this realm except for you yourself, right? So once you become aware, it's up to you to go from the heart on everything, right? In fact, let's talk about one other thing. Mental disorders. Okay, everyone's aware of them, and this may also give you a better understanding how to truly forgive people. When this happened down here, okay, when this went on, everybody, you, me, everybody became brain damaged. It's just like taking a shot to the head. Ding! And since these guys tampered and took over, they were playing mom and dad, they failed, right? They were supposed to look after us in that role. I mean, granted, it is what it is, okay? So you got to look around, just understand that every single human is suffering from some kind of mental problem. If that helps you, you know, see things differently, okay? So, you know, if let's say you're a young child, 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, and you've been involved in a traumatic head injury accident, and your parents are down the road partying and they leave you on your own, are you really ultimately in God's eyes accountable for anything that you did? No. These guys are the ones that are accountable and need saving, and my guess is they're being saved right through us because they're tied into our DNA. We put off that energy, and since they're tied to, that's why they heard us. They felt us. Okay? Probably explains why sex is such a bad thing in that Bible. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to run out and just jump on each other. There's always more to it than that, right? But just, you know, get rid of all the crap. I just look at the big picture things, okay? So, on the timeline, that's where we're at. We're about to have the flooding that came to earth. That's been, you know, the great flood in the Bible. It's not going to happen like it did before. Like I said, this is all symbolic, okay? All symbolic. But but watching the timestamps, that's where we're at. So like I say, you know, if anybody knows how we got, what was going on before the flood, you're way more in the know on some of this stuff than I am. You can probably chart out the timeline or expectations better than I can. It is what it is. But that's all of my rant for the day. It's already getting kind of warm out here, and I got to go concentrate on breaking down a hurricane. You guys have a wonderful day. Love you all. Bye-bye.